Staff of the Ghana Armed Forces, Chief of Staff, all officers present here, then the media. Without you, I'm not sure that today's function will be successful. I want to thank you for coming. As already said by my colleague, the United Nations chose Ghana to host this year's Ministerial Peacekeeping Conference, which is a yearly meeting of the United Nations. Aside the General Assembly, which is held in New York every year, September, sometimes October, the Ministerial Conference is the biggest meeting held by the UN anywhere in the world, and is the most important, apart from the General Assembly, held by the United Nations anywhere in the world. So it is a pride to every continent or every nation that you get to host the ministerial meeting of the United Nations. And for the UN to pick Ghana as the first country in Africa and the only country in Africa to host peacekeeping, which started some 60 years ago, we must be proud of ourselves. And so today we are here to let the people of Ghana know that on the 5th and the 6th, the United Nations will be in Ghana. All those who matter within the United Nations will be in Ghana. The Under Secretary of the United Nations for Peacekeeping, the Ministers of Defense and Foreign Affairs, and everybody will be in Ghana for this conference. And if you see some unusual movement of security, traffic, and everything, then know that the United Nations Ministerial Peacekeeping Conference is being held at the Accra International Conference Center for these 2 days. Bear with us, because there will be some movements here and there. There will be some inconveniences here and there, but please bear with us. So let me say that I'm elated to welcome you all here to the Ministry of Information Press Center this afternoon to acknowledge that Ghana will be participating in and hosting the 2023 United Nations Peacekeeping Ministerial Conference as a proud host from Africa. And the United Nations Conference, as I said, will be hosted in Africa for the first time, and to serve as a platform for member states to strengthen their support for United Nations peacekeeping operations. One of the most important jobs the United Nations does, and they spend a lot of their budget, is peacekeeping across the world. And Ghana has been outstanding when it comes to peacekeeping across the world. Without the United Nations peacekeeping, a lot of nations would have gone into the abyss, would have literally crashed themselves into fighting, into squabbles. But the work of the UN peacekeeping mission, whether they are soldiers, whether they are civilians, or whether they are police or any other security agencies, has really helped Africa and helped the world to maintain the peace that we have. Ladies and gentlemen, let me say it's gratifying to note that apart from the General Assembly, as I stated, which is here yearly in New York, the Peacekeeping Ministerial Meeting is the biggest conference that the United Nations always has. And hundreds of people across the world, including foreign and defense ministers and heads of international organizations, academia, social partners, civil society organizations, and journalists are expected at the conference. And this year, we expect over 80 to 100 countries to attend this year. We're expecting a conference of more than 500 participants from across the world to fill up the Accra International Conference Center across the entire world to be here. And they will be drawn across all spectrum of society. As I said, they will be joined by several key players in peacekeeping domain, including heads of relevant international organizations. This historic conference is a biennial UN event that brings together all stakeholders in peacekeeping community to discuss the challenges facing peacekeeping missions, operations, and also to open the opportunity for members to pledge to the United Nations what they will be offering the United Nations going forward in the area of peacekeeping. The idea of a ministerial conference on peacekeeping came to reality about 10 years ago and has quickly become a regular feature in the calendar of the peacekeeping community. As I said, the previous meetings have been held in New York, some of the areas, Vancouver, London, and Seoul. and have created a tradition for periodic assessment of responsiveness of peacekeeping to host community needs in a conference that format that generates concrete outcomes. Many policymakers attend the conference to show support for United Nations. In this area, ladies and gentlemen, of turbulent times, especially in Africa, for the United Nations to choose Ghana and actually come to Ghana is a big statement. I'm not too sure that the United Nations will want to venture into many countries in Africa today, particularly West Africa. And for them to choose Ghana and say that they will come to Ghana and host the United Nations Ministerial Conference is a big endorsement of the efforts of what we are doing in Ghana as a people, the peace that we're enjoying, and I will urge all citizens to guide that jealously. Ladies and gentlemen, the expectation of this year's conference is even higher for two reasons. Firstly, it is the first time that Africa is hosting the conference. And secondly, the conference is convened at a time of increased cost for peacekeeping operations to be rapidly evolved. We can't let Africa down. Neither can we let the third world down. And I believe that the planning committee has done a yeoman's job, and Ghana will make Africa proud. This year's ministerial conference is expected to attract, as I said, between 80 and 100 countries, and over 500 participants have registered to attend the conference. And this registration, as I mentioned, does not even include the average Ghanaian or the average Ghanaian press that will also be there to ensure that the people of Ghana know what is happening. So it's a big conference. And judging from the preparative program, which started from Dakar and ended in Kigali, the conference will create the space for open, frank, and informed exchange of views on the challenges confronting peacekeeping and the options available for the revitalization of peacekeeping operations in many parts of the world. The two-day conference, ladies and gentlemen, will focus its attention on thematic issues identified by Ghana for the meeting, including but not limited to the issues of women in peacekeeping, which Ghana is a lead proponent, and it has become a lead topic in peacekeeping operations in recent years, given the demonstrable impact of the inclusion of women in peacekeeping. And as a country which has exceeded United Nations target on the inclusion of women in peacekeeping operations, Ghana is proud to instigate further discussion on the topic. And in line with the United Nations Action for Peacekeeping Plus, the conference will also discuss existing efforts to improve the mission's capability to protect peacekeepers, as well as the safety and security of the gallant men and women who make sacrifices in pursuit of our world peace. Men and women have fallen along the line when it comes to peacekeeping, and so they do a lot of sacrifice for us to have the sort of peace that we have. The conference will further discuss the issues of misinformation, disinformation, and hate speeches targeting peacekeeping missions, which often fuel discontent for peacekeeping operations. The hope is to be able to secure support from member states to enable peacekeeping missions, use modern and digital tools to improve communication with communities in conflict and enhance the relationship between the host countries and the missions. And the choice of the themes for the 2023 Accra Conference is informed largely by the wealth of experience of our uniformed personnel who for decades have been at the forefront of peacekeeping operations across the world. This forum is an opportunity for Ghana to further demonstrate its commitment to peacekeeping activities by creating the enabling environment for a successful conference. That is an expectation that naturally flows from our visible presence in the peacekeeping landscape. That it is the first time an African country is hosting the event in its short history increases the burden to make the event achieve its intended purpose, which is basically to generate concrete and meaningful support for the stakeholders. In the course of the two-day conference, Ghana will use the opportunity to seek bilateral and multilateral partnership with like-minded states. Other participating states will also be able to use the opportunity to forge partnerships that will support existing projects aimed at strengthening national preparedness to contribute to peacekeeping efforts. Ladies and gentlemen, the conference will begin on Tuesday, the 5th of December 2023, with a welcome reception at 12:30 p.m. 12:30 in the afternoon at the Accra International Conference Center, with two side meetings on women in peacekeeping and environmental aspect of peacekeeping. The side meetings will be jointly organized with Sweden and the US respectively. The second day, the 6th, with the main conference will be addressed by His Excellency the Vice President, because the President is actually out of the country, and so he has designated the Vice to do that on his behalf, which will be followed by 3 panel sections, which will be conveyed on 3 teams that Ghana selected, including women in peacekeeping, protection of civilians in peacekeeping, mental health of peacekeepers, safety and security of peacekeepers, and strategic communications in peacekeeping. It is difficult and an expensive job to do peacekeeping. And for Ghana to continue to excel, Ghana needs a lot of credit. Digital exhibition of Africa's role in the peacekeeping enterprise, what we call the LC Initiative. LC Initiative is a collaborative effort between Canada and 5 other African countries that is largely centered on women in peacekeeping and the role of women in peacekeeping and the efforts of women in peacekeeping and why women should be in peacekeeping. So in the margins of the after-mentioned events, several bilateral meetings are expected to be held in rooms that have been earmarked and put in shape for that purpose. These meetings are important, ladies and gentlemen, because no nation can do it alone. Even the most powerful nations need allies. And so it is important that as we defend our nation against the threat of terrorism, as we defend our nation against the threat of piracy in the sea, and any other threat that Ghana may face, it is important to have allies. And in such meetings are those that you cut a lot of allies. You talk to people, you hold bilateral meetings, you strike out deals with people. And so Ghana will take advantage on this to ensure that we continue to protect our nation and make our country a free nation and make our country a peaceful nation that would attract further conferences. Because if United Nations Ministerial Peace meeting can come to Ghana, then what else cannot come to Ghana? Ghana is ready to host any other meeting, any other event. Tourists are invited to Ghana to come to Ghana because Ghana is safe. The statement by the United Nations to hold this meeting is a big statement. It's a big statement that will cut across all spheres of our lives. It's a statement that is letting the world know that if you want a free, if you want a safe, and you want a peaceful country in Africa, go to Ghana. That's why they are coming here. And so people are invited to come to Ghana. People listening to us today. And even Ghanaians should know that their country is safe, their country is peaceful, and that their country is ready to host the world on the 5th and then on the 6th. But tomorrow, a lot of businesses will begin to arrive, and we'll ask Ghanaians to assist us. Let them know the proverbial Ghanaian hospitality that they usually will show to visitors who may be coming for the first time and who want to have a good impression about Ghana, who may decide to go to the markets, who may decide to go to town, who may decide to go to our chop bars, who may decide to go to our restaurants or our beaches. Let them know the type of Ghana that we have here and we are proud of. I thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Contact you so that you know where to pick your accreditation by close of day Monday. Once again, thank you all for coming and do have a good day.
Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and click on the bell for more updates.